All right, we asked the studio audience if they thought marijuana usage was safe. Here's how they voted. 27% said yes, 73% said no. Well, we're joined now by Fiona McDonald. She knows a little bit about marijuana usage. She is a graduate of an addiction program, Teen Challenge, and she now works at the Windsor Life Center, helping women who suffer with drug addiction. Let's welcome Fiona to Context. Fiona, thank you very much. Hey, this must be a fascinating conversation for a worker dealing with the end result of drug liberalization, people who used it without caution. Should it be legalized or not?
You know what, there's been valid points on both sides, but I think end result, absolutely not. I don't think it should be legalized. It's a gateway drug and there's harmful effects to your health and long-term consequences that come along with it.
You have an interesting story that began with marijuana use. How did you first start being a smoker?
I was in junior high out in Alberta, and the opportunity arose, and so I took it. And right off the hop, I liked it. I went
You were grade 7, weren't you? Grade 7 or 8?
Grade 7 or 8, right around there. Grade 7 or 8, I don't know which grade, yeah. But right around there, so I was about 13. And the opportunity arose, and I picked it up, and I ran with it.
How does the opportunity arise for a grade 7er? Sorry.
You know what? It's available. It is available. And more available than we'd like to say, most definitely, but I don't think the legalization of it would cut that down in any way, shape, or form. Alcohol is available to kids that age as well.
You went from marijuana to becoming addicted to crack. How? How did that happen?
Weed is a gateway drug, and I think if you pick up a substance such as weed, and you begin to smoke it, your tolerance rises along with it. Your usage rises, your tolerance rises, and again, it's not doing what it did or what you wanted it to do in the beginning, what it did in the beginning. And so you reach for something a little bit stronger, and as opportunities arise, you, I guess you graduate from one to the next, and it's never a plan. You pick up a joint and think, I'm gonna become a crackhead or a needle user someday. I went from a straight A student, just from smoking weed, to dropping out of school. That was before I picked up anything hard. It took my motivation and my priorities. I loved school, I had a social life, I was in sports, but I picked up that marijuana and I loved it more than anything.
How much weed were you smoking as a junior high school student?
As much as I could get my hands on, really. Definitely every day, and that was my driving force once I had picked it up. It was kind of the solution. It was my escape. It's exactly what I was looking for, and once I found it, I knew that's what I wanted. And so priorities, energy, thought, that it was all on my next high. Yeah.
Overcoming addictions becomes your personal focus. How did you overcome your own addiction? What happened?
Jesus Christ. Solely Jesus Christ. And you know what, actually I was incarcerated. And we go back to people being labelized with the criminal label if they've been caught with substance in their pocket or whatever. And I had that, but it was ultimately being in a jail cell, handed a Bible while I was in that jail cell, and realizing that there was a God.
Well, you know, I have talked to so many people who were handed a Bible in a jail cell.
Yeah.
And that's it? That's the beginning for you?
That was the beginning for me. I realized that there was somebody that loved me far greater than anybody that was in my life, and the thing that I was leaning on the most, which was my substance abuse, and that I didn't need to live like this anymore, that there was a plan and a purpose for my life, and I definitely wasn't living it in the bondage I was living in. And so I don't think I found God, but God found me in that jail cell and led me right out of it, definitely.
So when you hear, don't throw marijuana users, drug addicts into jail, what would you say?
Well, I'm not saying everybody's going to find God in jail if they're arrested for having a joint in their pocket, not necessarily, but I don't think there needs to be legal consequences and ramifications for things like this. I really do believe that.
Did your rescue by God stick in your life? Did it last?
Absolutely. That's why I'm sitting here right now. That's why my son's in the audience and my mother. All of those things I had handed away. I had turned over to my addiction. Nothing meant anything to me in my life. And then Jesus opened my eyes and set me free, broke those chains off, and well, I live to tell those who are still in the bondage about the freedom in Christ that they can have.
How are you doing that now at work? What's happening?
I've been blessed with a position in a new ministry called Windsor Life Center, and I'm program coordinator there, and it just blows my mind the blessings that the Lord has placed in my life. I get to Well, our doors haven't opened. They're opening February 15th, and we'll have women coming in the same shape that I was in when I walked through the doors of Teen Challenge, actually. And people looked at me with love in their eyes and with hope, expectant hope to see what God would do in my life, and I get to do the same in turn with these women that'll walk through our doors, so it's a pretty exciting venture.
We're going to put more on our website about the Windsor Life Centre and about the Teen Challenge Centres across Canada.
Fantastic.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, after the break, my thoughts on the marijuana debate. Stay with us. That's great. What we hoped to do on today's episode was to equip you to think well on the reality of marijuana use. Christianity does have a sober-minded side to it, where the Bible and the saints of the past instruct us to be wise about how we live and to live in a way that pleases God. The earliest church advice was live in the light, think clearly, stay alert, and be sober. Doesn't sound like marijuana use falls under that category. That advice is found in the same place where the followers of Jesus were told to live a quiet life and mind their own business. So that's all I'm going to say on this topic today. But there are some great resources on our website on this. There's an essay called Puff or Pass by Reverend Mark Driscoll. There's some links on the health risks and how to get in touch with our Teen Challenge guests and Brian O'Day in his great book, High. Check it all out at contextwithlorna.com. And we'll put your views on today's topic in our mailbag segment next week. So email us at comments@contextwithlorna.com or add your view to our Facebook page on this. Thanks for watching. Join us as next week we explore life beyond the headlines.